Good morning. My name is Lisa Kahns. I am the Director of Traffic Safety for the Minnesota Safety Council. We are here today to talk about child passenger safety and seatbelts. Did you know crashes still remain a leading cause in childhood death? In Minnesota, between 2016 and 2024, 1/3 of children killed or seriously injured in a crash were not properly restrained. In 2024, 11 children aged 12 or under died in Minnesota motor vehicle crashes. If you drive with child passengers, job one is making certain they are appropriately buckled in. It's not only Minnesota law, used correctly every time, every ride. Car seats save children's lives. From September 21st through the 27th, as part of a 2025 National Child Passenger Safety Week, parents, grandparents, and others who transport kids have a special opportunity to ensure that they are installing and using seats correctly. During Child Passenger Safety Week, certified child passenger safety technicians across Minnesota will conduct special car seat check clinics to teach proper car seat and booster seat installation and ensure those currently in use are installed correctly. Links to these events, the year-round clinic schedule, and a tool for locating a CPST in your area by geography can be found on the buckleupminnesota.org website. Car seats and seatbelts, simply put, save lives. We want to make sure all Minnesotans who transport children have the information they need to buckle them in correctly every time, every ride. I would like to introduce all that will be helping us out today with this event. Mike Hansen, who is the Director of the Office of Traffic Safety. Tara Helm, who is the Manager, Community Programs and Occupant Protection for the Minnesota Safety Council. Christina Bojevic, who is the Colonel-in-Chief of the Minnesota State Patrol. Jennifer Starkson, who is a victim advocate, will share her story, whose daughter Morgan Grenwell died in a June 2024 crash. Morgan's 3 young daughters were safely buckled in their seats and survived. Upon conclusion, we will have time for question and answer, and we will be doing live demonstrations. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. My name is Mike Hansen, Hanson, and I have the privilege of serving as the Director for the Department of Public Safety's Office of Traffic Safety. We're here today, as Lisa said, to talk about something that has become second nature to the vast majority of Minnesotans, being properly buckled up when driving down the road. For children, this means being in the proper car seat or booster, and for adults, this means wearing that seatbelt every trip, every time. This year's annual observational seatbelt survey shows us that we are at an all-time high for seatbelt usage in Minnesota. Over 95% of people are wearing a seatbelt according to our most recent annual observational survey. This is the highest rate that we have ever recorded since we began these studies in 2010. That decision to buckle yourself up and your kids to make sure that they are in the proper restraint system is powerful. Imagine if tomorrow onward, everyone used a proper car seat for their kids and everyone wore a seatbelt. This year's seatbelt use rate represents the 4th consecutive year that we have seen an increase in that usage. Let's make the coming year the 5th straight year, and let's get to 100%. Seatbelt use increased in 2025 for every age group except those ages 16 to 29. The dreams, goals, and lives of our younger drivers don't have to end prematurely. All it takes is convincing them to take that one simple step to make sure that that seatbelt is on every trip, every time. Choosing to buckle up and follow the law is helping to save lives. We are down nearly 20% year-to-date for fatal traffic crashes in Minnesota year-to-date compared to 2024. That is a significant positive development. I don't call it good news because we still have a lot of work to do, but we are going in a better direction. That simple little strap is preventing tragedy every day. As of August 28th, there is a 66% decrease in unbelted fatalities compared to last year at this time. A small 1% increase in our seatbelt use rate is making a significant contribution to why we are seeing fewer people die because they are not properly restrained. And while the seatbelt survey shows such encouraging results, preventing further heartache requires everyone to be buckled up all the time or to be in the proper child seat. No one should lose a loved one because that person decided not to wear that seatbelt or to secure that child properly. In 2024, preliminary figures show that there were 477 traffic fatalities in the state of Minnesota. 477 families that had to plan a funeral and they lost a loved one in a preventable event. And of that 477, 106 were not wearing a seatbelt. We can do better, Minnesota. We can do better. One preventable traffic death is too many. There is no acceptable number of fatalities in this state. That's why starting next week in Minnesota, nearly 300 law enforcement agencies across the state will be providing extra seatbelt enforcement on all Minnesota roads. We know this step will save lives. The goal with these high visibility enforcement events is not about writing a whole bunch of tickets. It's always about saving lives, period. That's what we go out there to do. The only number I'm interested in is zero. Zero fatalities and zero serious injuries because everybody does the right thing on the road, including buckling up. Today, we're going to hear the story of a mother who did the right thing. She made sure her children were safe and had them in proper car seats. Now we want everyone in Minnesota to take that same step. I want to thank every parent who puts their child in a car seat or a booster, and thank you to every passenger and driver who does the right thing and buckles that seatbelt up every trip, every time. Remember, parents, you are setting the example for those kids, and buckling up makes your roads safer for yourself, for your kids, and everybody else in the vehicle. Now, with this, I'd like to pass it over to Tara Helm, who can provide a few more details on child passenger safety systems. Tara?
Good morning. I'm Tara Helm, Community Programs and Occupant Protection Manager with the Minnesota Safety Council, and I coordinate the statewide child passenger safety program here in Minnesota. Thank you for joining us today and for helping shine a spotlight on the importance of buckling up every trip, every ride in the front seat and the back seat. Crashes remain one of the leading causes of death for children in Minnesota and across our nation. Too often after a crash, we learn that a child was not buckled in at all or was buckled in incorrectly. We know that when children are properly harnessed in a car seat or buckled correctly in their booster seat or using a seatbelt, lives are saved and injuries are prevented. Next week, September 21st, through Seat Check Saturday on September 27th is Child Passenger Safety Week, our opportunity to make sure every Minnesota parent, grandparents, and caregiver knows how to keep children safe on the road. Across the state, various agencies will be hosting car seat checkup events throughout the week where families can have their car seats or booster seats inspected and receive hands-on guidance from trained professionals. Here in Maple Grove, North Memorial Health, in partnership with Maple Grove Police and Fire Departments, will host a car seat checkup event on Seat Check Saturday. Appointments are required and families can find details on our website. To help every Minnesotan stay informed, we launched buckleupmn.org earlier this year, a one-stop resource for seatbelt and child passenger safety information. On the website, you'll find Minnesota's child passenger safety law, best practice recommendations, how-to videos, fact sheets, a statewide calendar of car seat checkup events, and a tool to locate a certified child passenger safety technician near you. Certified child passenger safety technicians are trained professionals who teach families how to install car seats and how to use them correctly. They can give caregivers help to install their car seat securely, adjust the harness properly, at or below the shoulders for rear-facing children, at or above the shoulders for forward-facing children, and they can help choose the right seat for every stage of the child's growth. I also want to remind everyone about Minnesota's child passenger safety law. Children must ride rear-facing until at least age 2 and until they have outgrown their car seat by the weight or height limit according to the car seat manufacturer. After that, children can ride forward-facing with a harness until they outgrow it again by the car seat manufacturer's height or weight limit, and then they can move to a booster seat. Booster seats must be used until at least age 9 or until a child can pass the 5-step test and the lap and shoulder belt fits properly. Whenever possible, all children under age 13 should ride in the back seat. I encourage everyone to do 3 simple things. Number 1, check your car seats. Even if you think they're installed correctly, double check the owner's manual and the seat labels on the side of the car seat or booster seat. Buckle up every ride, every time. Set a good example for children riding with you. And finally, spread the word. Talk with friends, family, and neighbors about car seat and seatbelt safety so we can keep every child and passenger safe. Together, we can prevent injuries and save lives, whether we're driving just a few blocks to school, running a quick errand, or traveling miles down the interstate. We're proud to partner with the Department of Public Safety, Office of Traffic Safety, and law enforcement agencies across Minnesota during Child Passenger Safety Week next week. With that, I'll turn it over to the Colonel for her remarks.
Good morning. I'm Christina Bogoyevich, and I have the honor of serving as the Colonel of the Minnesota State Patrol. Thank you, Tara, and thanks to the Safety Council, the Office of Traffic Safety, and all of our law enforcement partners across Minnesota. And Jennifer, I especially want to thank you for being here today. Sharing your story takes courage, but it has the power to save lives. As the Colonel of the Minnesota State Patrol, I've seen firsthand the difference wearing a seatbelt or using a car seat can make. They are the most effective way to survive a crash. But all too often, we still see people make the choice not to use them. One click can be the difference between tragedy and survival. Every fatal crash caused by not using a seatbelt or a properly installed car seat is preventable. Every single one. And I get it, life is busy. Maybe you're running late to school or daycare drop-off and you think, my kid is strapped in good enough. Or it's just a quick trip and you tell yourself, we're only going a few blocks. I'll be fine if I don't buckle up. But here's the thing, crashes don't wait for the right time or the right place. They happen on those short trips, close to home and when we least expect them. For children, the responsibility falls on us as parents and caregivers. Babies, toddlers, and young kids can't properly secure themselves in the car. That's our job. Make sure they are in the right seat for their age, height, and weight. Take an extra second on every trip to make sure that car seats or boosters are secured correctly. Protect them today so they have a tomorrow. I'll tell you, the hardest part of our job isn't writing tickets. It's knocking on a door to tell a family their loved one isn't coming home because they weren't buckled up or properly secured in a car seat. That's a moment that no one forgets. That's why this enforcement matters. We will find drivers who are not buckled up or who have their children safely secured. But most importantly, we're here to educate and to save lives. That starts with a few simple actions. Buckling up, every trip, every time. Checking your child's car seat, and reminding the people you love to do the same. And with that, I want to turn it over to Jennifer Starkson. She has lived every parent's nightmare, and yet she's also witnessed how the proper use of car seats gave her grandchildren a chance to survive. Her story is something we should all carry with us each time we get behind the wheel.
Good morning. I'm going to do my best. I just want to start by telling you I never imagined that I would be here to tell the story. I never imagined I would lose my beautiful daughter, Morgan, on June 3rd, 2024, at age 24. I'm here today to tell you about Morgan and to share what I believe is going to be her legacy. To tell everyone how so very important it is to buckle up your child every time, no matter how far you're going, no matter what you think, buckle them up. Morgan was a positive person and she was an amazing mom, and she had 3 beautiful, beautiful little girls. One thing she was very firm on was buckling up her children. It didn't matter how far they were going, they were in the car seat, no compromise. And she would always say, "Car doesn't move until you're buckled." And the girls knew this even at their young age. A year ago on June 3rd, she pulled out of our driveway after a visit with the 3 girls in the back seat. I could carry them out and I could put them in their car seats. Mom always had the final. She checked to make sure they were all buckled, including how the car seat was buckled in. It wasn't but 15 minutes, and our phone made this alarming sound. And I looked down and I said, "It says Morgan's phone has been in a car accident." And before I even knew what I was doing, I was in the car and I was heading. It was 15 minutes from home. We got to the scene. Morgan's truck was hit by a fully loaded semi going 60 miles an hour. All I saw was black smoke. And I looked up and I said, "Please, please don't let this be our Morgan. Not my Morgan." And those sweet little babies. As we pulled to the scene, a firefighter was walking and he said, "What and who is a Yaya? We need to find a Yaya." I looked at him and I said, "That's me. The kids call me Yaya." He took me to the back of the ambulance as I saw Morgan in the ditch, but there was all the firefighters and EMTs were by her. "She's okay." And I went to the little girls. They were still buckled in their car seats in the ambulance. There wasn't a mark on those girls. And this truck was hit so hard. And my 4-year-old granddaughter at the time said, "Yeah, Mama's ears don't work. Mama's dead." And I thought, not my Morgan. Because of how they were buckled, not just the 3 of them in their car seats, they were buckled correctly and there wasn't a mark on them. And it was because of their mom, my dear Morgan, made sure that they were buckled every time exactly right. It saved their lives. I want those girls to know that they had the best mom who always put them first, holding her ground with car seats every time. And I want you to know just how awesome of a mom she was. So I want to tell you today, and to every parent and grandparent and anyone else who drives with a child, buckle them up. Don't take a chance, not even once. And no matter how far you're going, buckle them up every time. You'll not only save their lives, but think of Morgan and honor her. Her 3 babies are with us today because she buckled every time. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer, for sharing that extremely powerful story that I believe will force change in lives and changing lives. We will open for questions right now. Okay, if there aren't any, we are going to go ahead and do some seatbelt demonstrations. If you're interested in these car seat demonstrations, Tara will provide.
want to use that seat facing backwards, rear facing, until the child maxes out the seat. And then at that point, the seat can be used in the forward-facing position again until they outgrow the seat by the weight or height limit. The seat has that 5-point harness system, and then after this seat, the child could transition to a booster seat like we have up there with the high back booster or a backless booster. With car seats, you can typically install them using one or two methods. This is the lower anchor method. So in vehicles, they have metal bars located in the seat bed here. That is one method you could use to install a car seat, or you can use the vehicle seat belt. Either method, most car seat manufacturers prefer that you would just use one method to install the seat, not both together, unless the car seat manufacturer has done additional crash testing in which they tell you in the car seat owner's manual that it can be used with both methods. On the front of this seat, there are tabs here, so I like to pull back the cover so that you can see that rear-facing belt path a little bit easier. And so I'll show the lower anchor method with this seat. So I'm going to loosen this strap up a bit and then find those anchor points in the vehicle demonstrator seat here. And I'm going to hook them on both sides. Once I have them both attached, I'm going to double check that that belt isn't twisted. If it is, I want to restart over. If it's twisted, I'm not going to be able to pull out as much slack. And then on this particular seat, I'm going to pull on this tail to tighten the seat to get a nice tight install. As I pull, I'm pushing down with my other hand to get good leverage and standing up over top of the seat. And then once I have the seat installed, there are a couple things I want to check. I want to check to make sure the seat is tightly attached. So here at the belt path where it's attached to the vehicle, I'm going to grasp on the seat with the force of a firm handshake. If I can move this more than about an inch, then I need to pull this more tight so that it doesn't move more than that inch. Then, depending on the car seat manufacturer, I may need to leave a little bit of space here, or this may need to touch the front of the seat. Again, that's specific to the car seat manufacturer. And then if I had removed this cover, I'd want to reattach that. And then for rear-facing car seats, they also have an angle adjuster. So on the side of this seat, there is a line on either side that I would want to check and make sure it's parallel with the ground so that the angle is proper for a child. That's really important for newborn babies because they can't move their head up for the first few months. You want to make sure that angle is good. And then you'll be ready to put the child in. So you can loosen the harness. There's a button here at the bottom of the seat. I can pull to loosen. And then I'll take the child. And this child is roughly 3 years old. And they're still well within the weight and height limit of this seat, so they can remain rear-facing. Rear-facing is the preferred position because it's safer. It's able to protect the child's head, neck, and spine in this position, as the most severe crash you'll get into is a head-on crash. So by protecting their head, neck, and spine in this position, the car seat absorbs those crash forces away from them, so it's much safer than when they transition to that forward-facing position. So now I'm going to harness the child in using all 5 pieces of the 5-point harness. There's 2 pieces here at the top for the chest clip and 3 pieces down at the bottom. And there's quite a bit of slack here, so at the bottom of the seat there's this tail, and I'm going to pull and tighten that strap. And as I pull and tighten, it's going to tighten the seat from the top shoulder area. So I want to make sure that I've pulled any slack from the hip area up so that it tightens throughout the entire harness. And then what I'm checking for is that the harness cannot be pinched. So what I'm going to do is do a pinch test with my index finger and thumb. If I can pinch any slack in the harnessing like this, it is too loose and I need to pull it tighter so that I cannot pinch anywhere. Finally, this chest clip should be positioned with the child's armpit level, so it's over their hard chest bones, not over their soft tummy. and then we are ready to get underway and drive in the vehicle. Also with this seat, since this child is rear facing, I want to highlight that the harness strap position also matters. So with a rear facing child, we want to have the shoulder strap at or slightly below the child's shoulder, whichever position is closest. So this seat has quite a big gap here, so this harness slot would be way too high. So that matters based on the positioning. Once the child goes forward facing, then those harness straps can be at or above their shoulder. And then I can remove this child. So again, loosen the harness here, open this chest clip. And the other way we could install the seat is with the vehicle seat belts. If I'm not using the lower anchors, I want to store those properly into their storage compartments of the seat. And then with the seatbelt install, I will take the seatbelt through the belt path here. Buckle the seat for that correct seating position. Again, double check that the seatbelt is not twisted. And then if you try to do that 1-inch test, it's very loose, so we would need to lock the seatbelt. For this particular seat, there is a retractor that can be locked at the top, which is pretty general for most car seats for how to lock them. So I'm going to pull that shoulder belt out all the way until it locks. I know it's locked because it makes this audible clicking noise, and then I won't be able to pull out any more slack. There's still some slack hiding in this lower lap belt, so I'm going to pull up on the shoulder belt to tighten it. And again, shouldn't be more than 1 inch, and that would be your install with the seatbelt. And same steps apply where I'm going to put this cover back on. If I remove that, double check the angle of the car seat and make sure this is touching or not, depending on the car seat manufacturer, and then I'd be ready to put the child in again.
Can you mention your website and CTSTs all available?
Yep. So throughout Minnesota, we have child passenger safety technicians in several counties, all of the counties actually. We have contact information. We have over 800 child passenger safety technicians throughout the state. We have 2 different options on the website. You can either find them by county, or you can find their checkup car seat events listed as well. Like I mentioned before, this location here in Maple Grove will be participating in Seat Check Saturday next week in partnership with North Memorial Health and Maple Grove Police and Fire Departments. So they'll be conducting car seat checks for anyone appointments are required. So buckleupminnesota.org is our website where you can find additional resources, one-pagers and videos, and contact information for certified child passenger safety technicians.
Thank you.
Okay, if there aren't any other additional questions with that, we are finished